Welcome, welcome. I'm John, and you've started buying wine you actually like. Well, maybe you even have a small collection going, and now you're ready to do it kind of for real. And now you hear people talking about first growths and the 1855 classification, like that stuff is common knowledge. What is this stuff, and why should you even care? So here's what I can tell you. These 5 wines sell for $500 to $5,000 a bottle. And 170 years ago, somebody made a list making these the best wines in Bordeaux, and we're still using it. So is this insanity? But by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what the first growths are, why people pay an insane amount of money for them. This video isn't about the best wines in Bordeaux or the things I enjoy most. This video is for the new collector who needs the basics of the Bordeaux region. Let's start at the beginning. So before there was an official classification, there was Thomas Jefferson. Yes, that Thomas Jefferson. May 1787. Jefferson was serving as the U.S. ambassador to France. He visited Bordeaux for just 5 days, May 24th through the 28th. And during that short trip, he created his own rankings of Bordeaux wines. His first quality picks? Chateau Margaux, Chateau Latour, Chateau Haut-Brion, and Chateau Lafite. Now, these are the exact same 4 wines that would become first growth 68 years later. Jefferson nailed it in less than a week. He also invented a 3-tier system, the first, second, third quality, that the 1855 classification would later expand to 5. Here's a fun detail. Jefferson first tasted Haut-Brion at Benjamin Franklin's dinner table. And during that first visit, he placed an order, 250 bottles of Lafite and 24 cases of Haut-Brion. His second quality picks, Mouton, Bruzon, Janglais, both became second gross in 1855. The point is this. The 1855 classification wasn't just a mystical revelation. It was confirming what drinkers already knew at the time. 1855. Napoleon III was preparing the Exposition Universelle de Paris, a world's fair to showcase the best of France. And he asked the Bordeaux Chamber of Commerce to create an exhibit of their finest wines. The chamber passed that task over to the Syndicat des Courtiers, the wine brokers, who already knew the market. And they completed this entire classification within 2 weeks. This wasn't like years of deliberation. They just wrote down what everybody already knew. This ranking was based entirely on trading prices from 1815 to 1855. It's just a 40-year average. The wines that sold for the most got ranked the highest. It wasn't a taste test, it was just a price list. And so the original first growths are 4 wines. Chateau Lafite Rothschild, Chateau Latour, Chateau Margaux, Chateau Haut-Brion. What's changed since then? Well, the original list had 58 chateaux, and now it's 61, but that's really based on estate divisions. So there's only been 2 changes in 170 years. 1856, Cantemer was added. It was accidentally left off the original list. And then in 1973, Mouton Rothschild was promoted from second growth to first growth, after decades of lobbying by Baron Philippe de Rothschild. That's it. So there's been 2 changes in 170 years. This classification was supposed to be renewed every 10 years, and that just never happened. So let's talk about that 5th first growth, Mouton. Before 1973, Mouton's motto was Premier nous puis, second nous dions, Mouton suis. First I cannot be, second I do not deign to be, Mouton I am. And then after the promotion, Premier mais je suis, second je fus. Mouton ne change. First I am, second I was, and Mouton does not change. So now there's 5. So let's talk about who they are and what makes them different. Now, first of all 5 are from the left bank of Bordeaux. They're Cabernet Sauvignon dominant wines from gravel soils, and then each has its distinct personality. I like to kind of think about it in this way. Chateau Lafite Rothschild, or Chateau Lafite Rothschild in French, from Pauillac. This is kind of the aristocrat with elegance and perfume and finesse. The first growths were kind of a dinner party. Lafite shows up in the perfectly tailored suit, never raises his voice, no subtle power and long aging potential. Chateau Latour, also from Pauillac. The fortress, power, structure, intensity. This one's built like a tank, wines that can age 50 plus years. It's known for consistency even in difficult vintages, and it has massive tannins when it's young. Chateau Margaux, from Margaux. It's a seducer. It's silky, floral, graceful. People call it feminine, which is kind of reductive, but it genuinely like the most elegant of the 5. It has aromatic complexity and a real velvety texture. Chateau Haut-Brion from Pessac-Lannoy. This is from the Grave region. It's an intellectual, a smoky, earthy, complex. And it's the original outlier. It's actually the only first growth from outside the Médoc. It's known for its unique terroir, tobacco, mineral notes, and it ages a little differently than the others. By the way, a fun fact, the owner opened the first wine bar in the world in London in 1666. This was the first wine they poured. Chateau Mouton Rothschild from Pauillac. It's an entertainer. It's bold and opulent and showy. And this is the one that fought for 118 years to get promoted. It has the artist labels to prove it. It's known for its rich, exuberant style, and it's got famous artist labels, Picasso, Warhol, and others. So what are you paying for? Well, first you're paying for consistency. These estates have the resources to make excellent wines even in tough years. They have a massive investment in vineyards, technology, talent, optical sorters, temperature-controlled everything. The best winemaker money can go for. The second it has is aging potential. They're meant to be drank within 5 years, but most wines are. But these first growths are like made for the 30 to 50 year plus. So this longevity is rare and valuable. Third, we have the history and prestige. You're buying 170 plus years of reputation, and that label means something at the dinner table and a gift and a celebration. And fourth, investment value. And that's where it starts getting interesting for collectors. So let's talk about that. First of all, can you actually make money on wine? Let's just look at the numbers. The basic logic is that unlike stocks, wine is a consumable asset, so every bottle reduces supply. First growths from great vintages become scarcer over time, and there's a global market of collectors and restaurants and auction houses always buying. The Liv-ex index, the short I like live, not like live TV, Liv-ex, it stands for the London International Vintners Exchange. It was founded in 2000 by 2 stockbrokers who wanted to create a stock market for wine. Now it has about 600 plus members in 47 countries. In fact, the Fine Wine 100 index is quoted on Bloomberg and in Reuters, so it's the benchmark. So the numbers. Over 20 years, fine wine has traditionally outperformed many traditional investments. First growths from great vintages make up the core. So I'll give you an example. Case of 2009 Lafite released at 6,000. Today it's about 8,000 to 10,000 plus. So what makes a wine investable? Well, first it's brand recognition. First growths have it. Obscure wines just don't. Global recognition equals global demand equals liquidity. 2, critics scores. 95 plus points from major critics means stronger resale. Robert Parker, Wine Spectator, Janice Robinson, Wine Advocate. High scores drive demand. 3, vintage quality. This actually matters enormously. So what makes a great vintage? A warm, dry spring for even flowering, water stress in July to concentrate flavors, warm days, cool nights throughout the summer for slow, even ripening. Dry harvest, no dilution, no rot. Both Cabernet and Merlot ripen fully. Great recent vintages. These are just your collector targets. So 2005 was nearly perfect. Classic structure, built to age. 2009, warm, right, opulent, one of the holy trinity. 2010, powerful, tannic, needs decades, but it could be one of the best of the 2000s. 2015 is balanced and elegant. 16, structured, fresh. 2018, a warm year, concentrated. 2019, ripe but fresh and more approachable. 2020, excellent quality. And the pandemic actually made this a little bit more popular. So what makes for a poor vintage? Rain during harvest, which dilutes the wine, frost or hail, destroying crops, excessive heat waves, mildew, uneven ripening. Let me give you a few to avoid. 91-92, rain plague disaster. 2011, cool and acidic. 2013, rain at harvest, it varies a lot. 2017 had frost, reduced yields. 2021 had mildew and kind of cool conditions. Got to be real careful. Good news for modern buyers. Bad vintages are actually less bad than they used to be, and it's because of better technology. The sorters, the precision viticulture. And climate change has actually helped Bordeaux because it was normally at the northern limit. The fourth thing you need is provenance. That's where it's stored. So professional storage protects value. Poor storage makes it worthless, and it really doesn't matter what the label is. Fifth, liquidity. First growths are sellable. Lesser known wines can sit for years, but global recognition means global buyers. And now here's the honest caveat. Storage costs eat into returns. So standard professional storage runs $36 to $96 per case per year. Premium white glove service like Wovo, $96 to $240 plus. Bonded warehouses in the UK, $10 to $50. So do the math, and you realize that for 10 years at $15 a case, that's $150. That wine needs to appreciate 30% just to break even, plus insurance. Wine's an alternative investment. It is not a replacement for your retirement fund. Returns aren't guaranteed. Some vintages underperform. You need proper documentation. And remember, counterfeits exist, and it is very illiquid compared to stocks. But here's the upside. Think of it as investment with an exit strategy you can drink. So if it appreciates, great, sell it. If not, you have a special bottle for a special occasion, and that's better than the worst case scenario for any stock. So you, as a beginning collector, should you buy first growths? Let me give you an honest answer. The honest answer is probably not yet. At $500 to $1,500 per bottle, you can get like 10 or 30 really interesting wines. And your palate's still developing. You might not fully appreciate like what it is that makes these so special. And it's really better to explore first. Then buy the first gross once you understand. So it's kind of like the analogy of buying a $15,000 watch before you even know if you prefer a dive watch or a dress watch. Just explore first, and then you can specialize. And so when does it make sense? Scenario 1, a birth year or milestone vintage. Buy one bottle of something that's really meaningful for you to open later. It's your wedding year, your child's birth year, a major career milestone. It's kind of a time capsule. Scenario 2, you found a great deal on a second wine. So second wines of first growths are often about 30 to 40% of the price. It's the same team, it's the same estate, it's just a younger vine or a declassified lot. And so here are the second wines. So Lafite Rothschild's second wine is Cerrutis de Lafite. Latour's is Lafort de Latour. Margaux's second one is Pavillon Rouge de Chateau Margaux, and Haut-Brion is La Clarence de Haut-Brion. Mouton Rothschild has a second wine too, La Petite Mouton. Moving on to scenario 3. You want just one grail bottle. Like having your first growth bottle is kind of motivating to a collector, so you're building towards something. Just don't make it your whole collection. Scenario 4. You're thinking long-term investment. If you're buying to hold for 10 plus years and potentially resell, just buy them in the original wooden case, store it professionally from the beginning, and just document everything. Now, here are some better starting points for a beginning collector. 1. Second wines for first growths. It's the same team, the same estate, 30 to 40%. And this is just kind of a good way to learn the house style. 2. Look at super seconds. These are estates ranked just below the first growths that are actually sometimes better in actual quality. In blind tastings, oftentimes these win. So for example, we have Chateau Côte d'Estornel in Saint-Estèphe. We have Chateau Lieville-la-Casse in Saint-Julien. Chateau Pisson-Longueville-Bouron in Pauillac. We have Chateau Pichon-Longueville-Comtesse de la Lanne in Pauillac. Chateau Ducru Beaucaillou in Saint-Julien, and Chateau Palmer in Margaux. 3. Right Bank Bordeaux, Saint-Emilion, and Pomerol, Merlot-based wines. These are often more approachable young. It's a different classification system and a totally different personality. 4. Age vintages from lesser classifications. So a 15-year-old third or fourth growth can be magical and still affordable. You can get that Bordeaux experience without that first growth price. All right, let's just say you're ready to buy. So here's how you do it right. First, if you're buying to drink, buy it from a reputable retailer who guarantees the provenance. Look for recent vintages like 2015 through 2020 that are drinking well in their younger years. And then try half bottles. Just try before committing. They also age a little bit quicker. Sometimes restaurants have a buy the glass program. That's also a great way to try these out. There's places to look locally. You could look at K&L Wines, Benchmark Wine Group, Berry Brothers and Rudd just opened a U.S. store in 2025, or just go to the local wine bar. Now, if you're buying to collect or invest, the first rule is to buy in original wooden cases, the OWCs. It's easier to resell. better provenance documentation. It also shows that the wine hasn't been repackaged. Rule 2, store professionally from day one. Wovo, Domain, 55 degrees, local professional storage. Any of these places with 55 degrees, 70% humidity, no vibration, no light. Rule 3, keep documentation, the purchase receipts, the storage records, everything you'd want if you were a buyer. Rule 4, very important, think in 5 to 10 year horizons. Wine investment is long-term. Don't expect to flip bottles quickly. Rule 5, great vintages only. 5, 9, 10, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20. Poor vintages actually don't appreciate. And then where to buy? Same places, K&L, Benchmark, Berry Brothers and Rudd. Look at auctions. Sotheby's, Christie's, Heritage, Acker. You could find deals on older vintages. And then you need to verify the provenance very carefully. En primeur, which is buying futures. You buy before the wine is bottled, 18 months before release. This is really very, very controversial. The prices have been a lot higher than you could sell it with. Here's some red flags to watch out for. The prices are way below market, and it's been poorly stored, sellers who can't document things, private sales without verification, low-level fills. Also, labels matter. Listen, if the deal looks too good to be true, it probably is. Let's zoom out. Why does any of this matter, even if you never buy a first growth? Well, the first reason is understanding first growths help you decode everything. So it's going to help you with wine lists at fancy restaurants, articles and reviews, conversations at wine bars, and you're never going to feel intimidated by Bordeaux again. Second, the classification system influenced wine worldwide. Burgundy's Grand Cru system, Napa cult wines and their tiered pricing, Super Tuscans. This is the template for luxury wines everywhere. Third, the investment mindset helps all collecting. Thinking about provenance, storage, resale, helps you act smarter. And a well-stored $30 bottle of wine is way better than a poorly stored bottle of $300 bottle of wine. Fourth, the mystery is now gone. Now you know what the fuss is about. You can decide whether it's worth it. First growth stocks are the blue chip stocks of wine. They're prestigious, stable, and expensive, and you don't need them to start collecting. But look, understanding them helps. Buy one, it's just like a milestone, or think about it as an investment. So here's the thing that Thomas Jefferson figured out 240 years ago. Best wines aren't magic. They're just consistent over time. The 1855 classification doesn't create greatness. It's just writing down what the market already knew. You don't need to drink the first growths to appreciate them, but understanding them is the power. And the goal, listen, it isn't to impress anybody, it's just to drink well and to enjoy your time with wine. So if you find this helpful, subscribe. We're trying to make the wine more comfortable, not complicated. And below, drop a comment. What's the first serious bottle of wine that you ever bought? And what's on your wish list?